Dear viewers of South Sudan TV, of course you're watching Youth of Today. My name is Soro David and I am your host for today's episode. Viewers of Youth of Today, a pleasure to have you with me today on this program of today, which is we're looking at countdown as Independence Day is approaching. We're left with few days to come, and that's why I'm here with my guests into the studio. We will be discussing about the countdown and how the preparation have gone and among the youths actually. And I'm pleased to have my guests in the studio. I think I'll give them the opportunity to introduce themselves. You guys, you're welcome, and I would start by you introducing yourself.
Well, my name is William Akok. That is my first and last name, but usually go by William Bol Philipokut.
Okay.
And so that's my name.
Pleasure, pleasure having you. What
about
about you?
My name is Maleng Kwaj, and I go by Angelo Malek. And I work for Kush Petroleum here in Juba International Airport.
Good.
And I'm happy to be here tonight.
Nice having you guys on board, and pleasure being with you for today's program, our program of countdown on Independence Day, which is soon getting in. First of all, what can you tell me about independence itself by the virtue?
Independence, based on my humble opinion, basically means not depending on somebody else. So since 1956, basically that used to be our independence when Sudan was one country.
Good.
But since last year, July 9th, 2011, South Sudan has become independent.
Good.
In other words, South Sudan is now not dependent on the North. And that is, to me, that's what it means, basically.
Okay. What do you have to say, Mr. Paul?
I mean, I'm not going to be far away from what Bol has said, but in my analysis is, I think, independent is the governors. You know, we as a Southerner to govern ourselves, to be the nation, and to explore our country to be like other nations in the world. And again, it is being
free
in your own land.
Yeah.
And have a territory,
okay,
you know, etc. And it goes farther.
We are counting down for independence. That is, I think, 7 days to come so soon. That what does it mean to the young people of South Sudan, especially the youth?
It really means a lot. We have overcome far to this day. And I'll take examples for myself. You know, came from U.S. To where, you know, the lifestyle is even better than here. But you know, having a gut as a youth of what you feel about your country,
that's it.
It's the reason why we're here today. So it really means a lot, and being part of this building nations and setting your roots, and being able to overcome of what we've been through since we were in the North. Okay. Basically.
So, Mr. Bol, what do you have to say?
Basically, I totally agree with what Malik have just said, and just to build on what he has already said, what I would add is this: being a youth in today's world means basically you are the future.
Good.
The young people, the young people are the future of this country. So basically, in my opinion, we have to be involved. We have to participate in the economic, political, cultural, environmental aspect of basically nation building in South Sudan.
That's great. Mr. Bol, you guys have been in diaspora for a very long time. I think I will first ask you that when did you come to South Sudan?
Meaning, when did I first come to South Sudan, or when did I
come back home
and move here?
Good.
Basically, I came back last year in April. That was the first time I came. So I came in April, and I have been here since April of last year, 2011. I have been back a couple of times, or 3 times actually, but I feel at home. So I love being here.
Now, what inspired you to come home? Because when you look at previously outside youths kind of environment used not to look like it is today. What is the inspiration? What is the target that led you?
To be honest, I'll tell you, just maybe it's two things. The first would be, there's a saying that goes, "Sweet home."
Good.
So maybe that is one of the
East West
first
home is the
reasons.
best. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Right.
The other reason would be basically, I've lived outside of South Sudan or Sudan in general for a very long time, an extended period of time, and there was a time when I just, I don't know, had this kind of a longing basically to go back home.
All right.
Because I feel like my roots, I belong here more than any other part of the world. So basically that's why I wanted to come back. So I came back, like I said, in April last year, like they say, to test the waters. And I stayed here for 1 month.
That's great.
And then I went back. But then when I went back, it didn't feel the same again. I felt like I wanted to come back again. So what I keep telling my friends who are still outside now is, once you come to Juba, you'll come back again.
Good. Mr. Angelo, what do you have to say?
You know, a part of what Bull is saying, you know, love of the nation, you know, love of my country, basically. But what really inspired me and motivated me to come back,
Good.
It might be a little bit emotional,
I don't know.
but if you were watching out there as a youth, I want you to control your emotion a little bit.
Right.
We all, as a youth, we experience life in general in South Sudan,
All right.
what our people went through, etc. But mainly, what really motivated me to come back is that, you know, young man who took the gun and joined the bush, who were not aware where he's going to sleep tonight
All right.
or the next day, who were not afraid of a snake bite. That young man or elderly man who were not afraid of, you know, being bombed, air bomb, and who were not afraid of being attacked by the Sudan force.
That's
When I
right.
see that, I see my picture in it.
That's right.
And also, on that little girl who was being molested, being raped by the Sudan force at the time. When I see this and I think about it, I see my picture in it.
All right.
It's all about the lost boy, the young boys who have left their parents, you know, for the crisis.
Okay, it was your emotional experience
Yes.
that have made you to come home.
Yes.
We have many youths outside in the diaspora, as you mentioned. Do you think they have the same intensity like you?
I believe they do. You know, I've experienced being interacting with youth a couple of times in diasporas. And the way I see youth, especially the South Sudanese youth in the diaspora, they are very motivated.
Good.
You know, they're very unique. Let me just put it that way. They're ambitious. They're willing to do what is necessary for them.
All right.
They know that they're not going to be outside there for a long period. They will come back home someday. In order for them to come back, what will they bring back? You know, they always have a plan for that.
Okay.
So that's basically what I would say about the youth.
What about you, Mr. Bull?
Based on my personal experiences, basically I think Malik have said it all. So what I would have to add at this point is this. I mean, I like what he said, and it's true. Like he said, it's moving. It's. I mean, if you think about it, the people who sacrificed their lives, their limbs, their time. So basically, they were in the bush, in the jungle, for what, 25 years or what? How long was it before we gained the independence, basically?
That's right.
So these people have sacrificed their lives and a lot, basically, to make sure that we have an independent South Sudan. And when you look at it from that perspective, it kind of motivates you. It kind of inspires you, basically, when you are, especially in the diaspora.
Right.
You feel like you want to be part of that. You want to contribute at some point, because if you are originally from here, then you basically belong here. That is where your roots are. And just to build on what he said, I just want to quote what one American president, a former American president said when he was campaigning in the U.S. basically some decades ago. the former president that I'm talking about is John F. Kennedy.
John F. Kennedy, yeah.
When he was campaigning, basically, one of the things that he said, and it's one of my favorite quotes actually,
Good.
is he was telling the American people, don't ask what will my country do for me, but what can I do for my country?
Right.
So basically, I would say maybe that was the idea behind, or the motivating factor that motivated me to come back. So that would be it.
And do you think most of the South Sudanese youth outside there have the same motivation?
Like Malik said, I believe a huge number of them have the same kind of motivation. But the other thing that is keeping them back, in my opinion, could be maybe because they have responsibilities already.
Right.
For example, some of them, if they are married, they have children.
Good.
They have bought houses.
Good.
It's not easy just to leave all of that and just move back.
Right.
So sometimes that is what is keeping some people back. The other thing that is keeping some of the other ones back could be just the fear of the unknown, because they are, especially if you have lived outside of South Sudan or Sudan for a very long time, and then you start thinking about moving back. The question that you ask yourself the question that you ask yourself is, how is it going to be like?
How am I going to
like
start?
it?
Yeah.
Am I going to be able to adapt? So I think it's the fear of the unknown that is maybe keeping some people back from coming back here.
Now, Mr. Angelo, what do you have to say about the preparation for independence that is coming so soon? That this is the first independence South Sudanese are celebrating. In fact, it's going to be very jubilating. When we look into the number of South Sudanese who are outside, like previously, others used to commemorate, they celebrate in East Africa and Australia, Canada, wherever they are. Do you think that will happen today? Also, celebration will also take place the other side, or people are thinking of coming to join it as one in home?
You know, I don't see the reason why not, because as Bol has just mentioned, most of the youth out there, you know, and this is just my opinion, you know, they might be afraid of coming back home because of these unknowns thing that they might fear of it. But you know, we've been here now. Me and Bol, we've been here for about a year.
Good.
And we have witnessed the independent, the first, and now we're going into anniversary of the first. So basically, I don't see the reason why they're going to be afraid of coming back home and be part of this celebration. Yes, it is very special for all of us.
All right, yeah.
We march to vote for the separation, and we've earned it. I don't see why not celebrating that moment.
Okay, what comparison would you give me in the preparation? Right now, you're in your country, in Juba, and preparing for the independence. What do you think is the preparation up to date, as you think? Or what do you have to say about that?
I would say the engagement. You know, just in general, to engage the youth. Pretty much they're all engaged. You know, as I walk in Juba town or drive around Juba town, I see someone buying their flags. You know, what does that tell you? Their pride of their country.
Nationalism.
They wanted to be, you know, be ready for that day. So it's not only that materialistically, but, you know, in the heart and spiritually, it's there for the youth, and I can witness that as well.
What do you have to say, Mr. Bol?
Regarding the independence and celebrations and youths, basically.
Right.
Again, I would just say basically, it's a great experience. And let me just go back and talk about my personal experiences here. Like I said, I first moved here last year. I mean, I first came actually with my mother.
Okay.
For April of last year. And I stayed for a little bit over a month.
Mr. Bol, I think you don't get me well. I'm like, it's the celebration. Those who are celebrating in the diaspora, like, because now the biggest celebration is in South Sudan today. And when you look into the South Sudanese youth who are outside, definitely some of them would not afford to come back home and join the celebration here, may join to celebrate it in the diaspora. Do you think is logical? Is the way people like it, or do you think what do you have to say about that?
Well, again, let me just answer your question directly and then go back to my personal experiences.
Right.
So again, what I would say is, what they say is this: if something is important in your life, you'll make time for it. So anybody outside of South Sudan who is using the excuses like, I cannot afford to come back, or there's something keeping me back, I think it's just an excuse that you're giving yourself. And it's all about planning at the end of the time. I mean, at the end of the day.
Right.
If you want to do something, you just plan it ahead. July 9th, the Independence Day for South Sudan happens every year.
Good.
It's not something that happens
All
accidentally.
right.
So if you want to come, you can plan it. If you cannot make it this year, maybe you can plan it for next year.
Yes.
So that is what I would have to say. But let me just give me a few minutes to go back to my personal experiences.
All right.
So when I first came last year, like I said, I came with my mother. We stayed for a little bit over a month, and then I went back. But I made a point to come back on July 7th. That was when I landed here in Juba. And the reason I wanted to be back on July 7th was I wanted to attend this celebration, because this was we were going to become independent.
Right.
So I did not want to miss that opportunity.
Okay, this is your second time to come. How is Juba today, as you see, generally?
Juba is one of the cities that is changing so fast. You just go away for 1 month, you come back, and you will notice a lot of things have changed. So it's a dynamic city. A lot of things are happening. It's exciting. It's interesting. If that were not true, why would I be here for 1 year?
Good, good. What is your personal experience, Mr. Angelo?
Being as far as being
good being in Juba today, and
you know, the personal experience is, you know, how far we came, we come across. When I first came, like Bob was saying, we were having a tough time moving around, because first, I don't know where to go around in Juba town. Second of all, I have no basically, you know, close friends that can actually
access you to
me and show me the things. And the third thing is the job, the being able to support myself and support my family back home.
That's it.
And as you know, compared to today, it's totally different.
Right.
You know, this is where I wanted to be, even though, you know, if you compare my life where I used to do in U.S. and compare it here, back then, it was totally desperate. But you know what, I have that back.
You're talking of something you've been doing in the U.S. and something.
Yes.
But what have you been doing there?
Actually, I used to manage. I was a manager with the companies called Walmart. And I was very successful, gentlemen. Let me just put it that way.
Good.
Not just to say some good thing about myself, but this is the truth thing. And I was, you know, I was making good money, of course, to support my family.
Right.
And I was just about there to be the store manager.
In
that area. And all of the South Sudanese were outside. They can witness that.
Okay.
Being back here as a home, and you have the things, the expenses to do and to make a living.
That's right.
It was kind of tough.
Yeah, actually, you're talking through experience that you are managing a family, you work at the same time. Were you at school or
in U.S. or here?
In the U.S.
In U.S., yes. I was one of those people of South Sudanese who were dedicated to spend the time to get an education, basically, and at the same time build up the family, because that's the most important things. And I've done it. It was not easy.
Right.
But if you dedicate yourself to something, finally you will get the result, the good result. And I can witness that, and that's why I'm here.
You are a hardworking young man, and at the same time, Mr. Ball here. What is your personal experience if you brain drain U.S. social youth activities, and when you compare the youths outside there and you look at them today here in Juba, what is that you have to say about?
What I can say about the youth in diaspora, they are more involved in communities.
Good.
And I'm not, don't quote me into this, I'm not saying that youth here in South Sudan, they're not more likely involved in the community building or development. But when we're in diaspora, the youth, you know, we get involved in SPLA chapter, we're involved in Sudanese community,
That's
we're
right.
involved, and even in our local tribal section. So, and that's a good thing. You get to know more people, you get to gain more experience.
Right.
And that's basically the meaning of youth. It's about developing yourself, connection, being able to connect the communities.
Mr. Ball, there is a statement that they always say that the youths down here are not delivering, they are lazy. Do you agree with that statement?
I don't agree with it, and I'll tell you why I don't agree with it.
Good.
The reason I don't agree with it is I believe that is a generalization. You cannot generalize and say all youths are like this or like that, whether they are here in Juba, South Sudan, or outside of South Sudan.
Right.
When we talk about youths, we're talking about not just one person or two people. We're talking about a number, like a huge number of people.
That's right.
And each person is an individual, meaning we have our own personalities, our own ambitions, our own dreams. So basically, I don't agree with that generalization that youths here are not delivering. It's at the end of the day, it also boils down to this. It's about having your own dreams, having your own plans in terms of what you want to be in the future, or what you want to do in the future.
All right.
So it's the same. I would say it's the same, whether it's in South Sudan or outside of South Sudan, like in North America or Europe. It depends on individuals, what they want to do with their lives. And so basically, I know there's some youths here that I know that are delivering,
Right.
that are very productive,
Motivated.
that are very engaged, that are doing a lot,
Yeah.
than some other youths outside. So, yeah.
So you've been also, as I did mention, living in a diaspora for a long time. At least you having a lot of experiences on how do you look into the preparation of our independence that today that we are preparing. Is it unique? Is it compared to other countries? How do you look into it today? Is it in time? Is it on time?
You know, the way I look at this is this. Independent Day, or the celebration for the upcoming July 9th, it's something special
Good.
for all the South Sudanese in general. Not only on the material stuff,
Right.
we're all going to go to the millennium and celebrate it, and everybody has to dance and all that stuff. It's about being with all your people,
Good.
being in a unity places,
All right.
like what we witnessed last year in that place. They were marching, little one up to elders. They were all there. Okay. And it is not because they wanted to be there so that they can show themselves.
Right.
They wanted to be part of that.
Part of that. Okay.
And I can see that coming too. Because, I was driving on the wrong, across the road going to the airport. I see the young man was sweeping along the roads.
Good.
The South Sudanese guy.
All right.
That's kind of a spirit. It doesn't come easy. It needs all of us to involve. It doesn't matter what kind of job you're going to be doing.
That's it.
But that young man wants to be ready for that day. So he feels the need to clean that road so that our guests, when they come, they find a clean city.
That is a preparation.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo, and you are working with the company, and at the same time, I think you are the CEO of.
No, I'm not a CEO. I'm just a manager.
Good. What is that company all about?
Basically, Kush Petroleum. Our operation, we supply Jetty 1 to Juba International Airport.
Good.
We supply roughly, about more than 50% of all the aircraft that landed in Juba International Airport. And then also we have those two different competitive companies. And the reason, the way I look at it in the Kush Petroleum and how they're contributing and service they're providing to our nation, it's very important.
Right.
The company has started it, in a temporary where they used to use, balloons to put in the fuel.
All right.
And have come far away, to become a company now itself, which have the office and the tankers and 3 bowsers and the employees, who are contributing again also to the company by paying taxes at the same time. So I would say Kush Petroleum, it's a key figure for our nation because it's the service that they have delivered, even though they have faced a lot of challenges.
And what is the contribution of Kush towards the independence?
We've tried harder, even though there is a lot of shortage. We have a shortage in the hard currency. But we have worked harder, and I wanted to thank Central Bank for allocating, a little bit just to help us out, about 100,000 US dollar to be transferred outside. And that basically is not enough to provide enough fuel for the upcoming celebration. But we have tried harder. You know, we don't want to let our country down. You know, but at the same time, I feel like these guy, the bank guy, should at least, you know, provide us so that we can serve our nation in that aspect.
Okay. As far as the independence celebration is concerned, Mr. Ball, what is your personal point of view on the youths, actually? Because youths believe, they have a different kind of belief that, you know, independence is coming, let me prepare to drink, let me prepare to do a number of things, actually. What can you say about that?
Okay, before I answer that question directly, let me just say this. I've never had this opportunity before, but I just want to say, I want to give a special thank to all the SPLA soldiers, like I said earlier, who sacrificed so many years of their lives to liberate this country, to give us the independence that we're celebrating in about a few days. So I want to give them a special thank you. I want to salute them, and I believe the majority of the SPLA soldiers are youths also.
Right.
So it goes back to what the question you asked earlier, that do you think the youths are delivering? I would just tie it to that question and say yes, they are delivering, because I would say maybe more than 80% of those soldiers were youths. So they have contributed, they have done a lot for this, for our nation, basically. And just to go back again about my personal experiences about the independence celebration that is coming up in the next few days. I'm more than happy to be
part of
to be part of it again, because last year I was part of it, and I made a point to come back, so just to make sure that I was part of it. So I'm happy I'm going to be part of it again this year. I would encourage the youth, especially in the diaspora, to come and visit their home, because like they say, sweet home. Just come, taste it. And like I said earlier, you come here, you come to Juba, you will come back again.
Oh, thank you so much. Mr. Angelo, what do you have to say about the petroleum, your aircraft industry, actually, because you supply a lot of oil, whatever. What is the future of aircraft industry in South Sudan as you look into it?
You know, I see a bright future for the South Sudan in terms of the aviation in general. But what I looked at, what I see is going to be a problem. It's giving the chances to these local companies to rise, and then they're doing a lot, by the way. I know that we have some training, technical thing that has to be done among our people, but at the same time, being in that sensitive area as far as the aviation concerned, it's a big bone for the country. And and I'm not saying that our government should pay attention to that area, but I want all the Southern Sudanese to make sure that they're paying attention to this kind of sensitive area.
Okay.
As far as what we serve.
What to serve today.
And going back again to what I was telling you, if I go in details, average weekly what we sell in fuel, we sell about up to 250 liters.
All right.
And these fuel we import them from Kenya, Eldoret.
That's right.
And they're costly.
Okay.
And not only that, the taxes. If you look into the fuel, Jet A1, all over the world, it's not being taxes. It's a zero-rated, tax-free. And here in South Sudan, we've been taxed for it. Like Jet A1 is about 1.2. 1.25%.
Okay,
that's
Mr. Wall, normally everything you do, that preparation, whatever, for independence that is coming in, normally there are a lot of challenges. What do you think are the fundamental challenges that we will be facing in this celebration?
Excuse me. You mean personally or as a nation?
General, as a nation, as you look in a personal point of view.
To be honest, let me start by saying, maybe I'm not an expert in this area, but I can try to answer that question. The challenges, I think, based on what we have seen in Juba over the last few days, the first challenge maybe would be the security challenge, and that's why we see all the security forces all over Juba, basically, day and night now, because that is the first challenge, the biggest challenge, and it has been a challenge for quite some time now, the security issue in Juba basically, because there's crime seem to be going up. And then the political tension between the North and the South is also rising. So I believe the biggest challenge right now would be the security challenge. After that, maybe the other challenge would be in terms of logistics, in terms of organizing and delivering, in terms of giving, in terms of celebrating the independence next week, basically.
Thank you. What do you have to say, Mr. Angelo?
Reread your question one more time.
I mean, challenges that, as far as the celebration is concerned, as we count down for the days to come and we're getting down with it, what do you think are the challenges that we would be facing?
The challenges that we will be facing, you know, we're a new nation. We do have our done, you know, credit. I'm not going to deny that. But with a little what we have, I think our government trying to maintain that as possible. But again, it really needs all of us to be involved, not only just focusing on government.
Collective responsibility
for us.
Okay. So what do you think the government would do to encounter that?
In terms of challenges?
Yes.
First of all, I believe our government knows what it's doing. I believe they are up to the challenge. I believe they will step up to the plate and deliver at the right time. So, like last year, I think the challenge was even bigger than this year, because we were still part of Sudan when Sudan was one country, and people were not sure whether South Sudan was going to gain its independence or not. People were saying, especially after, because the independence was in July, and 2 months prior to that, the North, especially Bashir, invaded Abyei. So people were speculating a lot, and a lot of people believe that South Sudan was never going to become independent, because in the last minute, maybe there was going to be an attack, war was going to erupt, and everything was just going to fall apart. So I think this year, although there are challenges, I think the prospect is even better than last year. That is based basically on my personal analysis.
What is your point of saying that, I mean, what would you actually say? What would you bring up on when you look at the youth of South Sudan today? What advice do you have for them, I mean, in this independent anniversary coming?
You know, in my personal experience, and all the youth in general, let me just represent them. We've been through a lot. You know, since we were born, we were raised. Some of us experienced the bush life. Some of us experienced the life in Khartoum, which was not pleasant. So basically, to overcome to these challenges, I don't think it's really hard for the youth at the moment, because having experience versus not having experience, I think the one who has more experience can overcome to that. So in general, what I wanted to say is it's all of us to be involved as youth. You know, do your thing. Don't just focus on being, you know, saying that, you know what, I want to be a politician. You know, there's nothing wrong in being ambitious. It's always good. But are you ready for it to take that capability?
That's right.
That's a key point.
And what would be your final message to the youth outside there?
What I wanted to say to the youth outside is, you know, I go back to what I was saying earlier. You know why you were there. There is a reason why you were there. You know, you left the home. Who did you left home? You know, what did you experience back home, back then? If you know all of this, I think it is time for you to come back and build this nation. It is not only government, but it is
the collective responsibility. Mr. Ball, what would be your final message to the youth outside there as far as independence celebration is concerned?
Okay, my final message would be basically whether we are talking about youth in South Sudan or in diaspora, what I would tell them is this nation is your nation, this is your home, and the future belongs to you. You have to play a role. You cannot just sit on the fence and expect somebody else to do the job for you. So we have to step up to the plate. We have to be engaged. We have to participate in all aspects of building up this nation. We cannot wait and say, I'm waiting for this leader or this political leader or this time when everything is perfect for me to come and get involved.
Okay.
If you want to get something done, it's better to start it from scratch so that when it's built, you know you are part of it. It will make you proud. It will make future generations proud of you as well. So let me just conclude by saying what I said earlier. As a youth, basically ask yourself, what can I do for my nation?
But not what the nation can do for you.
Yeah. So
thank you so much. You guys, thank you so much. Viewers of South Sudan TV, of course, you've been watching Youth of Today, and that's why I'm with young people with me in the studio here. We've been discussing about we're counting down actually for the independence celebration that is coming up. And my name is Soro David. We are coming to the end of our program. But before that, viewers of Youth of Today, we can look at one of these books. This is it is actually a magazine, and at the same time it has a lot of history in it, from August 1855 to July 9th, 2011. It tells us a lot, the number of revolutionary leaders, those who actually the heroes and the heroines. If you're really interested into this book, I think you'll find it around SSTV. And there is one that has also come of late, which is this, that the Republic of South Sudan, the long and the painful journey. This is actually, and in it we will get to see that there are a number of pictures and number of biography and histories that tells about the biography of the great politicians and the heroes and the heroines. You will be able to come to SSTV if you're in need of it, and you will be able to find it. And this is actually very, very great. Indeed, we have a number of pictures and number of stories in it. You can pass through when you own it, and if you need it, please, you can come and find it around SSTV. And actually, Youth of Today, this is the end of our program. And as I've been here with my guests, we've been discussing about we are counting actually down to Independence Day. My name is, of course, Soro David. We have come to the end of the program. Thank you so much for watching Youth of Today. Continue watching the rest of the programs. Bye for now.